to Archangel, Revelations and Prophecies 444. It is 3:16 p.m. to February 2nd, 2020. I am Gat, your host. The viewer's chart you're looking at, this viewer requested a birth natal chart analysis. That is what we're going to do now. Once again, the viewer will receive a free report that really explains all of astrology, all 12 houses, the Archangel, and even tarot card correspondence, what each house represents, things of that nature. Now, I usually tell most people, make sure you study your 8th house, your Scorpio, and your Pluto. Scorpio rules the 8th house, Pluto rules Scorpio, so they both rule the 8th house. That's a lot of information, and no one person will have all of that. And it takes a lot of time to read it. And I just read it in a recent video because that person had a very strong Scorpio Pluto presence. I always tell people to take notes because you're going to get hit with a lot of information. No way you're going to get all that information in the first listen or nothing like that. That's a lot of information you will be hit with. All right, just give me a second. All right, the first house will be the AC. The EP, the East Point, is in the 12th house. We'll deal with that when we get to the 12th house. But I'm already noticing that, yep, especially from his 9th house to the 12th house is love. Now keep in mind both the 12th house and the 9th house deal with belief systems. You see in the 9th house and in the 12th house, that number 26 degrees. And that really is like the God, the word of God. So in his belief system, he's associating love and family with the belief system, which a lot of people do. So we're going to see how that plays out in the 12th house. In fact, just out of curiosity, I want to see if anybody tackles Juno 12th house. And I want it to be somebody who goes really deep. So ironically, a few people are attacking it or addressing it, not attacking it, addressing it. This is interesting. So just looking at your chart, that would be my first advisory is try not to. Now don't get me wrong. A lot of great things happen sometimes when people move in faith. But you also got to be careful that you're not just making decisions based on belief systems. Because that's exactly what it is. Usually it's just a belief system. Doesn't necessarily mean it's right. It's just a belief system. Sometimes it's powerful though. So I was hoping Astro Codex would handle this, but a nice amount of people stepped up. So whether Astro Codex handles it or not, we should be pretty much okay. All right. I'll be right with you. I'm just pulling this all up. Just bear with me. Get out of here. Go back over here and say. What I'm doing now is just getting information because it's not gonna fully set the full basis, but it will set the basis for your chart. All right. So we'll tell you what the 12th house is all about, but we're gonna do Cancer and 12th house first. Basically, Cancer rules your 4th house, and the ruler of Cancer is the moon, which has a connection to the mother usually. Now, the 4th house is teenage to adult education, land, property, and real estate, family and ancestors, vehicles and travel, the mother and the subconscious mind. And again, the mother would be whoever raised you when you were young. So let's say it's a person and maybe it was a grandmother when they was young, and maybe their mother showed up in teenage years. Well, then that reading would primarily be about the grandmother, but it could still have something to do with the mother. That's why I said with astrology, you have to learn how to just read it. A lot of stuff is going to be intuitive. It's almost like somebody could say, somebody could say, okay, there's going you could be dealing with a reader, like a card reader or something. They could say, oh, this week, be careful, this is going to happen to you, and you'll make it through the whole week and be like, they don't know what they're talking about. Ain't nothing happened to me. And then the next week, when you don't forgot about it, you get hit by a car or something. So it still happened. It just wasn't right at that point. So that's just astrology. And a lot of people get mad at that. But see, I'm different. Somebody tells you that an assassin is coming to get you. I could care less. You know, I'm staying ready. I'm not talking crazy. I'm not talking trash. Because the moment you think it ain't gonna happen to you, that's when it does. And that's what happened to Sherry Shriner. Because she knew that she was warned that a hitman was paid to kill her. And I don't know if you guys know who Sherry Shriner is. Was a very famous person off of YouTube. Her channel is still up, but she knew a killer was coming to kill her. So anytime you get information like that, that's high time to be concerned and not just shun it off like it doesn't exist. Um, so that's Cancer. That's gonna be Moon, and now it's in the 12th house. Cancer's in the 12th house, not the Moon, but the Moon does. It's still gonna be a connection. Wherever the Moon is on your chart, it's gonna have a connection to your 12th house. So usually when the 12th house, so some type of family situation is in your 12th house, and we're getting ready to go deeper with that. Give me 1 second. right. All right, so now we know about what Cancer is all about. So, like I said, your fourth house and your 12th house are going to have things in common, and wherever the moon is on your chart, that's going to have something in common with your fourth house and your 12th house. All right, now, so now let's look at what the 12th house is. We really got to look at it. We really got to make sure we understand the 12th house. 12th house can be about endings, karma, hidden things, secret enemies. It's a supernatural house, and also it's about past lives. Also, this is where you come to do serve. Like this, the fourth, the sixth, the 12th house and the sixth house are about service. So in the 12th house, really, you're there to really serve others, but you have to be careful not to burn yourself out, because some people serve and people start to really take advantage of them. So you don't martyr yourself. 12th house is also about the collectiveness. This is why you're serving. You're supposed to be there getting to know people, getting to help them through their needs, or taking people that may be a little weak and making them stronger with your strong points. It's very karmic, but it's also the house of reckoning, because this is where you're supposed to come in and get everything out, because all your past lives are dealing in the 12th house. All the things you've been through, 12, it's supposed to all come out so that you can get healing. But again, most people don't do that. They keep it under the carpet. A lot of people are afraid of it because this is the house of fears as well. It's supposed to face your fears, but most people don't. They keep it in their subconscious mind. They lie about it, and a lot of times this will come out in your dreams. Because remember, Neptune rules Pisces. Pisces rules the 12th house. Therefore, Neptune and Pisces rules the 12th house. And in your dreams, a lot of this information will come out. This is why people are told to keep journals, dream journals when you sleep, and even keep a journal or something with you when you're walking around. The 12th house is also about buildings such as churches, police stations, hospitals, mental wards, prisons. Church, I said churches. About buildings, confinement, isolation. That's why I say, depending on what's in your 12th house, we can almost tell you if a person has done jail time or not. And again, on your chart, I already saw it. I wasn't sure what house. I'm not looking at your chart right now. I'm reading this, but but I already saw ending and beginning on your numerology, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Because that's what this person is saying. 12th house is usually about it, something ending, so something can begin. You can also call if you do it correctly, the 12th house is clean. Clean out the closet, get it all out, reckon with it, so that you can heal. And remember, 12th house can do with confinement, but confinement is anything, because it may be things in your own mind, things in your own subconscious. It might be things in your own past that you don't want to deal with. You're hiding from it, so that is still confinement. And when people have like mental situations or deep emotional or psychological situations, they can really drive themselves crazy. This is where you can get the mental people, schizophrenia, all kind of stuff. People, strange stuff's going on inside of their head. But this is why you're supposed to reckon with it and deal with it so you can get healing. Because the person that thinks they can handle it on their own, usually they can't. And as time goes by, they're usually, crazy, or they kill somebody kills them, or they get taken over. Like if it's a wicked spirit situation, they usually get possessed or taken over. And again, it's like I said, it's about secrets, secret enemies, even secret lovers, depending on what you have in that house. So that's pretty much the 12th house. I'm still looking at it though. And remember, 12th house is net. So anywhere where you got Neptune, Pisces on your chart, it's going to connect back to the 12th house. So this person, this is astrology-zodiac.com. Says when you have Cancer in the 12th house, you can see a family secret instantly. There might also be a tendency to idolize one or both of the parents, and we may be able to figure out which one as we go through your chart. But he said either one or both. So they say that you may have emotional depths inside of yourself if your Cancer is in the 12th house, and this will be regarding family. And they're saying you may be emotional or fragile about it. But then they go on to tell you that strange things are hiding in the 12th house. And when Cancer is here, you can see these strange matters in one's home and intimate relationships. But again, remember, the mother usually holds a stronger connection with Cancer. Depending on what planets are in your 4th house, you'll know if it's the mother or the father. So it might be some stuff with mother in the 12th house. And it still deals with depth as well. The 8th house deals with it more, but the 12th house could deal with date, especially when you have Cancer, because it could be student loans. It might even be money owed by relatives, or it could be anything, land and property. Could be some type of secrets in that, or some type of debt with that. And you got to be careful when you're if you're looking for land or property. But even if you would say you live in a condominium or a complex or apartment complex, it could be situations there too. And that's what I mean, like secret enemies. Because you might have a neighbor that just, it seems like the neighbor has a hard on for you, and you're sitting there trying to figure it out why. A lot of times you can just find out on your natal chart. So they keep saying sensitive emotions. Why? Because Pisces is very watery. Neptune is sensitive too. But remember, this could be the infat as well. And that's why I said about church and everything and family. This is the person that can read energies and kind of know what people are thinking. They may even be able to know the people's sins, their hidden secrets, and they can see it and know. So that's the infat. You'll be able to feel what others feel. Therefore, you have to be careful who's around you. Because what happens is you start to take on their situation. And that's one thing about that they call the 12th house the house of self undoing. Because you begin to take on other people's energies and things of that nature. So they say it could get so bad you won't know whose emotions, if it's really yours or somebody else's. But that's why I keep trying to tell people, you know, if you went back years ago, more people wrote. Nowadays, people are just real lazy, and they don't want to write. They don't want to study. They think they can listen to something that's extensive of a natal read, and they think they got it in the first take and all that. Just crazy shit. Just crazy shit. And that's what I mean about people. Again, You get a warning, be awake, be aware. And that's why I said if Sherry had done that, she may have still have been alive. But she got so obsessed with that situation she was investigating. And because she had escaped death many times before, she thought this one was going to be the same. But the difference with this one was she was being specific. And she was calling, all this stuff is still on her channel, Sherry Shriner. She was calling out specific people and identifying them and saying what a form of Freemasonry they were connected with. Like, she really went way more pointed than anything else. Because a lot of times she's talking about aliens and stuff like that. Like, who care? Like, nobody either believes it or don't believe it. But it's not like you can get to the alien, and it's not like that you can identify the alien so much that the alien feels like you're a threat. But she was calling people out. She was calling out some of the most powerfulest people in Chicago that are in Freemasonry and stuff. And anybody will tell you don't fuck with Chicago. Like, anybody knows that. So those were the reasons why it went to her demise. So they say this guy will be a family man, which I kind of see that on your chart because it's part of your belief system. But I'm going to say it again, you have to be careful because the 12th house is also the sellout house. The sellout house. You'll be serving people, they'll take advantage of you. You got secret enemies, somebody will be doing stuff behind your back, smiling in your face. So you have to be careful. And we're going to learn more as we go through your chart. Because I saw it as soon as I looked at it. And I noticed both of the times I saw 26, I said, okay, so this is going to be a guy that's making all his decisions based on. See, 26 is like Pisces energy. It's like a belief system. Oh, God said, and God, and everything's fine. I'll tell you, like a lawyer told me way back in early 1990s, too much of anything is not good for you. Because I was that guy. I was a Neptune guy. I was an idealistic guy. I was a religious guy, all that. And I believed anything. A religious elder could tell me anything, I'd believe it. I was much younger, stupid. And you find out, hypocrisy. Just like now, you got all these priests that are guilty of some of the most horrible crimes you could do to a child. Plus, they're all connected with secret societies and all that stuff. So the point being made is you got to watch what you're being told. Who's telling you why? What's the agenda? And you don't have to do something just because somebody tells, because that guy could be lying through his teeth. He might not even know what he's talking about. He's just, like I've seen, especially, you see that a lot in religion, but sometimes you see it in the workplace too, where somebody will tell you something like it's a stated fact, but then you do it and it blows up and they act like they didn't say it. I never said that to you. So you got to understand the planet you're on, the people that's on this planet. You got to understand all that before you make moves, especially moves like love and family. Those are big moves because they can break you. They can make or break you. So in the 12th house, he wants solitude and communications with loved ones. Anybody with a 12th house Cancer. They say this guy might be kind of spiritual, and that's what I was saying. Pretty much looks like he is. Looks like it. But we'll know more as we go into the chart. And they're saying that this person wants to do introspection, they should do it in that type of environment. 12th house home environment where there's no distraction. Now it's kind of funny because the other one said this person would be sensitive. Now in this particular website it's saying this person would be insensitive to criticism. They say this person will have no negative reaction to negative judgments. Oh, so that's what they're saying. They said, but it seems that they're not affected by it, but it's an illusion. Because remember, the 12th house is all about deception, illusion. That's planet Neptune, the deceiver. And they say, but deep inside, even though this person will act like it's not getting to them, they're a cool cucumber, but deep inside, they're deeply worried. So they will go internal with this. They're not going to forget, and they're going to harbor. It says they're going to remember those insults, and they may seek a way to get back at you, but they may do it secretly. But the 12th house is all about secrets. So all this is going on in the depth of the person's soul. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So if you're not careful, this is where the crazy comes in. So they say this might be the type of person that starts to emotionally cut people off. And they no longer can get in. But he may still come out and act like everything's cool. But inside he's harboring he's harboring emotions, he's offended. So that's why I say you have to be careful, because when you're dealing like with a Lilith or Cancer, see they're more womanly, because Lilith is the black moon, Cancer is ruled by the moon, so those emotions are somewhat feminine, watery emotions. But at the same time, you do have to be careful, because sometimes you do handle it like a man, and that's how you get fired or whatever. Because something could happen to you that's effed up, and not too many people saw it happen to you. So when you stand up to defend yourself, everybody goes, "Hey, what's his problem? Why is he looking for trouble?" And really, you were minding your own business. Somebody did something to you. That's about secret enemies, because nobody saw it when they did it to you. But then when you stand up to handle it like a man, all of a sudden now you're the bad guy. You got all these problems with people because they think you're the troublemaker. So this is one of the reasons why people go political or secretive and stuff like that. So they say, but if you hold it all in, like I said, violation of health. Because when you hold all that negative energy inside, all that, whatever you're doing with it, it can eat away at your psyche. It can cause health problems. So this type of person, your prison in the 12th house is an emotional prison. So they say even in emotions, you begin to hold emotions and stuff like that. So they say this type of person may begin to force people one way or another to do what they think they should do. But remember, that's not good for the 12th house. Because the 12th house, you're trying to work with people and get along with people. And you're supposed to take a more humble approach to people. So they say this type of people, if they do this manipulation stuff and political stuff, smiling in your face, but they're harboring, they say this person really has a character flaw, lacks responsibility and honesty. And like I said, you just got to know when and what. Like I've been on the planet a long time, been fighting most of the time I've been here, and it's some things you just don't move on, but some things you do. But when you do move on them, you can't back down. Because I look at it like this: the devil's already moving. The devil is already winning because you're afraid to speak up. Because when you speak up, even if you're 100% right, everybody's acting like you're the troublemaker, blah blah blah, and nothing's gonna change. And a lot of times, like I've always said, I'm forced to go over people's heads. I find out who their bosses are, go over their heads, stuff like that. And if the company still won't do it right, then I got to report the entire company. I've been in wars like that. But unfortunately, then people don't like you. And nobody's trying to get anybody fired, but unfortunately, my stuff can't be effed up either. So a lot of it goes into it. A lot of it goes into the warfare. So they say a detailed self-analysis is going to be necessary, and that's what I'm telling you again. That's why pen and paper, however you type it on the computer, however you do this, but you got to come to grips with it. Because in your 12th house, it's almost like it's an attack going on. And the attack is designed to hit you internally. You know how you watch some kung fu movies and the guy get hit, like in his stomach area or something, you know, in that area right below the chest, and you think he's okay, and then he starts bleeding out of his mouth and dies. That's internal bleeding. So that's what you got going on in your 12th house to really mess you up. And that's why, like I said, I've seen all of this since I've been here on this planet. Like it's a battle between light and darkness. Now, for all intents and purposes, the 12th house can be considered a dark house because there's so many secret enemies and mysteries and secret stuff and people doing scandalous stuff, even in the name of Jesus. Like I said, you're on a planet where people will pray on a billion Bibles and swear up and down that they're telling the truth in Jesus' name. And when the prosecutor in the courthouse, in the courtroom, says to them, you realize that if you're lying, you're going to be thrown in jail for whatever amount of years. They'll go, I'm not lying, I'm not lying, I'm not lying, blah, blah, blah. They'll keep on, they'll swear on those Bibles, billion Bibles, swearing on every last one of them. Billion Bibles, swearing in Jesus' name. And so the trial goes on, and with all the evidence and witnesses, undisputably, this person's lying through their teeth. Even then, they'll try to act a certain way. And the only time you're really going to get a response out of a person like that is when somebody finally says, okay, we told you you're going to jail for the next 15 years of your life. Now they're screaming and crying and begging for mercy and still coming with a whole bunch of excuses of why that happened. And these are the people you go to work with. These are the people you go to church with. These are the people you see, your neighbors. You see it all the time. I'm not saying everybody, but enough of them to really do damage if you let them. It's kind of funny. If you remember Family Ties with Michael A. Keaton, and if you remember the time he took his younger brother to kindergarten, and so in the kindergarten class, the teacher was getting all the kids together, and they said, "Okay, everybody, we're going to share our lunches today. We're going to share we're going to share everything." And Michael A. Keaton's character, Alex, he thought that sounded too much like socialism and communism. And he was a Republican. He wasn't having that. So he tried to prevent his little brother from sharing his lunch with everybody else. And he made a name tag for his brother. And on the name tag, it said, my name is so-and-so. Whatever his brother's name was. My name is whatever, and I know what's mine. That was hilariously funny. And I know what's mine. So unfortunately, I'm not saying, be mean to people. I'm not saying go looking for trouble. I'm not saying, jump on somebody as soon as they cross that line. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying you do have to be aware of how life really is in third dimension on planet Earth. Because if not, your 12th house will devour you. And your 12th house, like I said, you could be sick and stuff like that. And what happens a lot of times, the people closest to us suffer. It's like the parent that's so upset with life that they take it out on the family and take it out on the kids. So you got to know how it really is. And like I said, sometimes you'll be in a situation where nobody will believe you. Even people in your own household will think it's you. But that is your 12th house. That's why I say be spiritual. Pray. Be spiritual. Find spiritual ways to compete with the negative or darker energies that are coming your way. See, it says with a positive development of character, a person who has a 12th house in Cancer is very emotional and inclined to self-service. So we already talked about that. They say he sympathizes with destitute and unfortunate people, and nothing wrong with helping out people. Just don't get played out and don't have somebody lying to you, because a lot of people lie in a heartbeat. Like people tell you when they first start making money, like when they first get famous, so they start making money, and all of a sudden that phone is off the hook. People are calling that, are claiming to be relatives that they never heard of. Yeah, I'm Jimmy's. Yeah, Jimmy's little brother. Yeah, yeah. Now maybe they are, but I never heard of you before. Jimmy been there for 15 years. What are you talking about? So these things happen. And like I said, I had a friend that came on MTV back in the day when MTV was like the big thing when it first came out and everything. And he was a DJ. And nobody really ever paid him any attention. But then he showed up on MTV. And he said from then on, females was coming to his house. They were calling him. He didn't even know how they got his phone number. So the moment somebody thinks you have anything, whether it's fame or fortune or both, you can expect to see a whole lot of people showing up. So you gotta know how to say no. That's why I say you gotta know. People gotta know. Oh no, not him, not him. He's not going back. If you piss him, he's not going back down. He's going to handle it, and he's smart enough to know who to contact if necessary. So helping others is great, but you just got to remember, you don't burn yourself out, and you make sure you're not being deceived, because this is the house of deception. That's all I'm trying to tell you. The 12th house. So the 12th house can deal with a medical, educational, profession, but it doesn't necessarily have to, but it can. And remember, Cancer reflects the mother, so you're going to have like a motherly persona. I mean, one job I worked at, I remember, I was like the, because I was a Boy Scout when I was little, so I was always like the first aid kit. And I remember one job I had, somebody had a band-aid. They needed a band-aid, so the job tried to give them a band-aid, and they said I can't use those type of band-aids. I'm I'm allergic to it, you know. So then I reached in my little bag and gave them a band-aid, and they said, yeah, that's what I need, and they took it. And so everybody looked at me and said, what type of person carries band-aids like in their bag and stuff? And then I remember giving aspirin to people who needed it and shit like that, because I've been in so many jobs where it's never gonna be right. It's just the way it is. It's never. And you'll see people bleeding, they can't get band-aids, and so I would always carry that stuff around. So that's like a healer, but that's a nurturer. Like I said, my North Node is in Cancer. So that's the motherly appeal, the grandmotherly appeal. So that these people are saying in Cancer in the 12th house, if they feel like they're being used or unappreciated, they'll just withdraw all of that. And like I said, for me, I realized that was a situation on this planet, because it's not always thankless though, but a lot of times it is thankless, and sometimes you do be like, F that, F that, I'm not doing this shit no more, F these people. But for me, it was just different, because like I feel like if you got those skills, you got those skills for a reason. And like I said, a lot of people are sent here. A lot of people are not third dimensional people. They're on third dimension, but you can just tell by the way they act and what they say and how they talk. They're not third dimensional people. So some of us are sent here to help. So I realized that too. And like I said, I don't like to feel defeated. Like I don't. Nobody's gonna change my personality. And I've been through it all. Still smiling, still got the same hope and belief system I had when I was little. And that's a good thing, because it was a good way of looking at it. Like little kids, they have a better way of looking at life. They're just more honest about stuff. So now getting back to the karmic responsibility. So this is about like Christ consciousness. So that's why I said you're supposed to be bringing it all, helping the people, and you want to be helping. A man doesn't have to be motherly if he doesn't want to be, but just doing what you can as a man. Or some guys can, some guys don't mind. If they don't mind, there's something wrong with it, because this is karmic, but it's also past life. So karmic means probably what you give out in this life in the 12th house will come back to you. But also it means that whatever you did in a past life, you're going to see it not just in the 12th house, but throughout your life, throughout your natal chart. And they do admit dealing with pettiness of life. But like I said, this is what I'm trying to tell. This is why I do what I do. I make the charts confidential so we can all talk about this. And hopefully there are people listening that will make their life better. Point being made, this is what I learned. I learned what I said about the hands on the Bible. That's just the truth. A lot of the religions are the same way. It's just a show. You go there and it's all politics. So like you have a lot of politicians that are just known for saying whatever they need to say to get voted in, and then once they get voted in, they very rarely follow through on their promises. So religion is the same way in a lot of ways. So that's why I said, from going through everything I went through, I had to learn how to move. And that's why I said even now, I'm very careful of how I move, where I'm moving, who I'm going to be around. Because I just know how things go. It's like a bad movie and repeat. And this is why when you see famous people, you got to go through channels to even talk to those people if you can. And they'll have people set up to get back to you. If they want to personally get back to you, they will, but not. And that's why I see other famous people. They're always with at least one or two security or bodyguards or something, because they know how the world is. So it's like you don't let the world change you, but you also got to protect yourself from the world. Now, Juno represents a serious relationship. So Juno in Cancer would mean you may find yourself in a serious relationship with a Cancer or a Pisces. But the scary thing is Juno in the 12th house. All right, so I'm on Tumblr. So it's gonna take me a second because they give you a whole lot of boxes to look at, and you gotta expand them. So this one said, be careful not to marry someone because you feel sorry for them with this placement. These people tend to imagine away their partner's shortcomings and therefore may end up putting up with someone less than good for them. They need someone who is caring, sentimental, and understanding. Now, like I said, if you're taking notes even now, this is how you avoid these things. Because going in, this is what I'm trying to tell you. With all that idealism, you're going to see things the way they should be, but not necessarily the way they really are. And sometimes you'll give a lot of people power over you because of that. Cause like if you're in some type of religion and the elders don't know what the hell they're talking about, but they're acting like they do. But if you follow that garbage, guess who's gonna be effing up their life? And you may be talking to some police, depending on what advice you were given. So you have to know what to do, what not to do. And like I said, sometimes it's better to find a place where you can go, where you can be you, and not go to a cult or somewhere where somebody's trying to tell you what to do. Because usually the person that's trying to tell you how you need to carry your life, they're usually secretly effed up. These are the guys cheating on their wives, cheating on their taxes. These are the pedophiles. This is all of this stuff going on. But yet they want to come up to you and tell you how to run your life. So that's why you have to be very, very careful. And you have to remember, once you let someone in your life, depending on who that person is, they could take half of whatever you make. They could take a whole lot of stuff from you. Somebody might have been living in some motel room with a female for a little bit of time, or they might have been living in a hotel or whatever. And they say, "Oh, well, I'm a common law wife." Say, "Common law wife? What's that?" The person who's about to take half of your salary. That's who. So it's all about wisdom, wise, and not. That's why that person warned about, oh, I'm a great guy. I believe in God and all that, and then you destroy everything. You destroy everything because the person's not even faithful to you like that. So like I said, I still want to look at more of that. So they already told you though. They told you to be careful because, like I said, this is the house of deception. So me personally, and it may have already happened, but if this guy doesn't change, or if it already happened, he can't change. This is in the past. But this is a situation that probably will end in some type of divorce or some type of separation, and it'll be based on deception. So they're saying Juno in the 12th house. You might have inner conflict with yourself and others due to the opposite nature of what it represents. Why is it opposite nature? Because Juno wants the real. Juno wants the real. All the way. Serious relationship. 12th house is really all about deception at the end of the day. Juno wants to know it's real. 12th house is emotional, not necessarily stable. Your Juno in the 12th house, you're romantic and passionate, but at the same time, there's a logical detachment and realisticness about you. So if you believe in past lives, it's said that this is a karmic placement, and often you might find yourself being with someone in this lifetime who you had that karmic relationship with in the past, which pretty much that's what it looks like. But again, you're getting this information, so you don't have to repeat the past though. And like I said, like whereas in the 1980s, I would have been a go-to guy. I would have been ready to go, taking on the world by myself. I still kind of do that now, but I do it a different way. I don't go through any institutes and none of that crap because you got a bunch of like a lot of people just got evil energy, and you don't get it until you look back. You don't get it till you look back. See, like I know if Potiphar would have known his wife was a whore, he wouldn't have left his wife alone with Joseph. Like when you look back in retrospect, you know not to do certain things. But when you're in it, you don't know. So a lot of people you're around, they're carrying evil energy. And if you just watch them, and some of these people are very slick, very manipulative. That's why, like, if you're dealing with a serpent or something like that, you won't know it till they're up on you. Like, you won't even know a serpent's in the grass until it's biting you. And now you're poisoning everything, whatever he's going to do. And then, if you guys ever watched, like, a serpent swallow, like, a alligator and some shit like that, any of y'all ever saw that? Like a serpent swallowing a whole alligator or something? That's crazy. So they say when you're dealing with Juno in the 12th house, the person will be somewhat, they'll make you their whole world. But if you guys start having problems or break up, they'll turn your world into hell. So that's crazy. That's one thing a man has got to learn, is that when it's over, it's over. It doesn't matter what she did. If it's over, it's over. But it's just that vindictive. Oh, she did this and blah, blah. I'm going to get her back. I'm going to hurt her and all that stuff. That's not cool. So Juno in the 12th house goes through that sacrifice and suffering. There's a lot of ups and downs, which I already saw on your chart. And when we get there, I'll show you what I saw as soon as I looked at it. So that's the death and resurrection. So they said, I've noticed that a lot of people with displacement, Juno in the 12th house, they're attracted to dominant types. And she said the women are more attracted to dominant types, and the men are more attracted to weaker types. They need help in some way. And that's interesting. But that's what I be trying to tell you. Because sometimes that's not necessarily a bad trait. Like, you want to help. But unfortunately, people, on this planet, it becomes bad. But that's not really bad, that if you see a woman and you're attracted to her because you want to help her. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But in this world, it does. I've been there. I'm older, so I done seen all that shit. That could even become a bad thing. Because they'll say, oh, you're manipulating her. You're only attracted to her because she seems weak to you, and you think you can control her or whatever. But if they study your legacy, all you do is serve. Like, depending on who you are, all you do is serve. You might have been serving since you was a little kid. So why say that? So that's why stuff like that, when I heard stuff like that, I would just get mad. Extremely mad. Like, how dare you? But unfortunately, you find yourself in shit like this on this planet. So he said, when you have Juno, this person, whoever wrote this, when you have Juno in the 12th house, it'll feel like that. Oh, this is destiny. Oh, this is my soulmate. Oh, all this weird synchronicities. Oh, this is beautiful. He said, but at the same time, you'll shut it down. Now, why would you shut it down? Because you don't want to get hurt. Or sometimes it look like it's going to go one way and it doesn't. Or you might have a female playing hard to get, which can be very frustrating. Or you might be afraid of getting hurt. Like, remember, if this is karmic, if this is past life, because I know when I saw my twin, I didn't know what a twin flame was at the time, but I know I didn't want to have nothing to do with her whatsoever. And I've seen that because I've done thousands of charts since then, but I've seen that. Like, they just know inwardly. And you can see it on the chart. You can see it on the chart where this person's running from their twin. Why? Because it was so painful, and it's still in you. Even though you don't necessarily mentally remember, but energetically wise, you do remember, and deep inside of yourself, you do remember the hell and the drama. You just don't want to go through that shit again. So that was interesting. So again, Juno and Cancer they want a relationship. They want that family setting, that spiritual setting of the 12th house. but you got all that you're going to be dealing with. So that's why I want to do that, because I try to lay the foundation. Once you can get the foundation, you'll better understand the chart. And this woman's name, and she looks young too. She calls herself astrologically Gracie. So I don't know if she's really, and this is from I don't think I can find a date on it, but she did really good. All right, so let me see if I can find out more about her. All right, let me see. I'm trying to see. I don't know. So they're saying like follow her, but I don't want to follow her because I clicked on her picture to see what would happen, but it's still the same pose really. So let me try one other way. Astrologically Grace. Well, her name is Astrologically Gracie. And if you're listening to my channel, I've been showing you, the whole Divine Mother Grace and how it's connected to the stars and the literal stars, not the celebrity stars, but the little stars above us. I've been dealing with that. That's why I say everything is synchronicity. And then the next one says Ko-Fi Calm. And I just had a client named Kofi. That shit's crazy. Cosmic Love, North Nodes, South Nodes. All right. All right. So we now will be moving on. So then, now this is star sign style. Juno in the 12th. The marriage might feel like a non-entity. Juno was in sort of a blind spot in the 12th house. It's a karmic relationship, so it might feel like a feeling of destiny or a significance in a marriage union. It's going to be that suffering and sacrifice that the other person talked about, helping and supporting the partner, or perhaps the native could play the part of the victim in marriage. And that could be real frustrating when you're helping somebody, and then the moment you need help, they don't want to do it and shit. Like that's a bummer. But that's probably when this person would turn cold, payback time or whatever. So she said Juno on the 12th, the person's not really they're not really drawn to marriage. And she said her Juno's on the 12th. So that's interesting. See, I think this person might be, because some people will tell you I'm not drawn to marriage, but they really are. I think this person's kind of drawn to marriage, but it's just that it's gonna be stuff he's gonna have to deal with, and not just in the marriage, just in the 12th house. Because like I said, a lot of people don't realize that sometimes it's your environment that fucks you up. Like you think, oh, we just couldn't work it out. Me and her, we just no. It could have been your religious beliefs. It could have been the people you were around. You just didn't take that as a factor, but that was a factor. That's why, like I said, when you do it the correct way, people get mad when I say stuff like this. But when you do it the correct way, when God instituted this institute called marriage, He took those two together and said, "You leave the family out, and it's you two." Now, it doesn't mean your family doesn't come around. That's not what He said. But the family's not supposed to be all up in your business and stuff like that, because that's why this shit fails. You got too many people up in it, and they shouldn't be up in it, because each person is different. These two over here, they might be able to put up with certain things that these two over here won't put up with. That's my point. They have to decide what are we gonna do, what are we gonna put up with, and what are we. They have to decide that on their own. That's not other people's business. And that again is another universal law that nobody follows. And this is why we have these high rates of breakups and failed marriages and broken families and on and on and on. It will be a lot of issues, people hiding information, and because this is the 12th house, and even at some point, this person will probably either one or the other one will still have somebody in a relationship that don't really need to be there, or need to be there, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, or ex-husband, or this crazy shit. All right. So, like I said, a high, you see, this is in his ego. Each point is your ego. It's what is somewhat over the epileptic when you were born. So this is all in your ego, but it's all based on a belief system. 25 degrees is law, but like that would be like karmic. Like it's a karmic law that y'all meet again in this 12th house. Probably to try it again, or to go over some stuff that you didn't really complete in the first time around. And where your 26 degrees is a reset. See, that's 26 degrees in 0 minutes. Now that's Uranus energy. So that's wherever your Uranus is, or wherever your Aquarius is. That's how this is going on. And if you count to your 7th house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look what we got here. Aquarius. So your twin flame or soulmate or significant other will probably have Aquarius and possibly Libra energy. But once again, you don't see anything in the 7th house that would say this is going to be something that is going to be loving or moving. But remember, Aquarius and Uranus are the eyeballs of astrology, and sometimes it could be like a different type of relationship, and that could mean anything. That could mean like with your 12th house, and then going to your 7th. That Aquarius could mean anything. A relationship where two people are together, but they're not really, really, really that intense with each other, passionately, or it could be a secret lover, and that could be lover of the same sex. It could just be a different type of relationship. It could even be a relationship where it's a third or more party involved. Well, look at you. You almost got you got like a beautiful pyramid in your chart, and it almost points directly at that 0 degree, at your medium coeli, which is your part of your true north node purpose. That's interesting. So now here we go again. Your first house, very fiery. We just left your 12th house. Your first house, ruled by Aries. Another fire sign, Leo, is there. And then you have the audacity to have Mars. And look at your Mars, the religious fanatic. Religious fanatic, Mars at 26 degrees, ready to beat somebody's ass in the name of Jesus. So the first thing in your first house you gotta learn is calm the F down. Calm the F down. Breathe, breathe, breathe. You gotta realize you're on a planet where drama is gonna continue no matter what you do. And when you try to solve it in an Aries or Mars type of way, you're only gonna make it worse for yourself. And the sad thing about the life you live is that it's the other side, the side that really is out of line, but for some reason they get away with it. And then the side that's really the good side, they're the ones that go through all this crap. So AC is your ascendant, where the sun went over the horizon when you were born. And it's also your rising sign, Leo. Leo's the leader. He rules the 5th house. The leader, having fun, children, creativity, romantic, bold, not afraid. And like I said, definitely a leader. Not only is this guy a leader, but he'll dive in. He's working off that King David energy. He'll run up on Goliath, ready to go. So now you have psychic abilities. So at some point you may want to find out what your clairs are. Clairvoyance, clairsentience, and all that. Because whenever you have Neptune, Sagittarius, and Leo, or 5th house, whatever, this is highly psychic. And because your vertex cross is also there, that's probably your twin soul or twin flame. Y'all are both very psychic. And this is why this is going on in the house of Neptune, because Neptune is very telepathic. And with Pisces, it's emphatic. Very psychic. So when you look at your 5th house, you see number 22, that's the twin flame number. And you see number 27, because if you look at your true north node, 27 again. So that number 27 has a connection to your twin flame, twin soul, or karmic relationship. And if you notice, your vertex cross is 27 degrees and 6 minutes. Well, 6 is the number of the Lovers card, which is Gemini energy. And then 22 for your Neptune is 22 for your Neptune is the twin flame number, and it's with number 32. But see, now your problem is you may want to escape with Neptune retrograde, because that's escapist. So you may want to get away from whatever you're going through, but don't be foolish. Don't get drunk or uh, rely on substance abuse or alcoholic abuse or something that makes you escape. Now remember, Sagittarius can be long distance travel. It could be studies that you enjoy. It could be higher education because it rules the ninth house. To learn more about your fifth house, you got to go into your ninth house, but we're not going there yet. But I do see Aries, which is still kind of aggressive. So yeah, so you might actually find refreshment and higher knowledge, studying and whatever, or traveling, or even like it could be your in-laws. But either way, it's still aggressive. Even in your ninth house is still being somewhat aggressive. But you want to talk about it. Now your palace at 2 degrees is, that's the high priestess, but she's all about soulmates and twin flames. And the Mercury at 3 degrees, 0. Once again, 3 degrees will take you back to your third house. And when you go to your third house, look who's there. Libra. Libra. So number 3, Yuli, is like it's Venus energy. It's the Empress card. But number 3 can also represent like immature people, immature adults. Like if you got Libra in your third house, it's probably a good chance y'all gonna be breaking up, making up, and hurting each other. And that's where I saw your death and rebirth. 20 degrees Pluto. Because Pluto hits hard. Pluto takes it away. Pluto represents like rebirth, like the resurrection. That's the judgment card, resurrection. And 13 is death. So you got death and resurrection in your third house because of Pluto. Something sincere, something's going to hit hard and take something away. But see, Libra is not just relationship. Libra is also law. See, that's at 25 degrees as well that we were talking about. 2 plus 5 is 7. 25 degrees. And then you have Lilith there. See, Lilith is what we said about your 7th house. What we said about your 12th house. Because Lilith will catch feelings. Lilith retrograde will catch feelings. But you have to be careful. Because you got Lilith retrograde in the child house. 3rd house. And Lilith is known for hurting children. So you have to be careful. And it could be anything. From physical to sexual. But sometimes you can hurt your kids just by not working it out. Because they're looking for mommy and daddy, and mommy and daddy just can't get it together, keep it together. So Lilith is still winning if that's what she's trying to do, is hurt the kid. 7 degrees is the Chariot, which is Cancer energy again. So once again, we're still talking about your 12th house. So I would also say, and if you're a praying person, just try not to handle these things emotionally. Because I know I'm very sensitive. I'm a Leo, sun sign Leo, but very emotional. Especially when it comes to family, because that's how Leos are. But they're gonna do what the fuck they want to. Now I'm talking about the adults primarily. But even if you got like a sister or brother or whatever, and they got kids, they may raise their kids like the way these people raise their kids now is nothing compared to the way I was raised. Because I'd be looking at this stuff shaking my head. It's almost like the parent wants to be the kid. They want to be friends and everything. Like they really don't want to do the whole parenting thing anymore with the kids. They want to be happy. They want the kid to be happy. They want the kid to like them and stuff. And if you say anything otherwise, they look at you like you crazy. So you have to understand it is what it is. And like even everybody has idiosyncrasies. So some of these adults, the ones even older than me, my age and older, they're set in their ways. So that's why you don't need to get emotional, because you can't really change them. And sometimes you have to live and let go. That's why, depending on who you have in your life and who you're really responsible for, sometimes you just have to let it go. That's why I answer directly to God, and all this other stuff. You understand? I can't even get caught up in it. People are gonna do what they want to. We already proved people lie in your face, tell you and still lie to you. They know they're lying to you when they're talking to you. So you gotta learn how to do you. Get up and do you and stuff like that. And one thing, if you do have a female, you can't make her do what you think she should do. Even if you think you're right, you can't make it. Either she's going to do it or she's not. And you have to be able to deal with that if she does it. Especially if it's a relationship. But the one thing you really can't do is, get angry, let the Mars take over, let the crazy Mars lion go crazy, no stuff like that. Or even that, turn cold. But like they said, you have a danger of taking it all internally. See, what I had to learn, you had to accept it's just the way it is, bro. It's just the way it is. So once you realize it's just the way it is, you see things differently. But I move differently. I'm still like the same person kind of I was in the 80s, but I just move differently. I still got my goals, my agenda, all the stuff I had back then, but I'm just differently. I'm aware of human politics. I'm aware of human nature and stuff like that. So I move differently. Like whenever I do anything, I'm already preparing for part 2, part 3, whether it happens or not. Because like I've seen it too many times, no matter how much you do it correctly and all that, a fuck up's still coming. And it's still gonna fuck up your whole thing. Even if you stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure, double checked everything, guarantee the moment it leaves that and goes somewhere else, it's still gonna be something fucked up, and it's still gonna hold like if you needed that thing like within 2 or 3 days, something's gonna F up and you're still not gonna see it to the end of the week or early next week or something. And you gotta be able to deal with it. Because otherwise you're gonna be yelling all the freaking time. And then everybody's gonna say he's crazy, or he just has an attitude problem. When in actuality, you should learn how to do your freaking job. So all these things just happen. But when you understand it, you learn how to breathe and just breathe it out. Let it go. So they did it for a reason. When I say they, the people that put your chart together and put all those numbers on it. See, your pyramid is a fire. Probably you call it a grand trine in fire signs. And that's why you just missed 0 degree. Because they wanted it that way. They wanted it that way. And it's actually pointing at that sun at 26 degrees. So that's interesting. That's interesting. So believe it or not, your grand trine is all about your belief systems, because Jupiter represents your belief system. And remember, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Neptune represents your belief system. And it goes all the way into your 9th house in Aries at 26 degrees, which is still your belief system. So that grand trine has something to do with your belief system. Why? Because again, it can make you or break you. And that's why I'm trying to tell you, I've already been there with belief systems, and I'm trying to tell you reality. Because you have to learn to deal with reality. And sometimes that's the real reason why God will smash up your reality. Because a female, she's chaos. She's chaos. So as much as you say, oh, this person's always messing things up, blah, 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 but there's a reason for it. Because when you learn to just get up and say, you know what, I'm not going to worry about Jack. I'm going to try to deal with it, whatever comes up, and I'm going to do it in a positive way. That's interesting. That's interesting. But like I said, don't get me wrong, it's nothing wrong with getting, you can be upset sometimes, long as you don't go crazy with it. But it's nothing wrong with being upset and telling somebody, how you felt about something. But if it's going to happen all the time, it's almost like you're wasting time. Because like I said, people want to do what they want to do, and they really don't want nobody asking them, why did that happen? Do you think that was considerate? They don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that shit. And then you have people, when you try to talk to, they overreact. Like you just be trying to tell them one little thing, and they just overreact. But that's because they really don't want to hear it. So now they overreact. And that's kind of like their way of telling you, I really don't want to hear this shit. But they just don't want to say it to you to your face. So they act like they're overly upset. So it's gonna be drama, bro. Like it's gonna be drama anyway. So you gotta let the fiery Can't you can't retaliate with fire. Now your second house, let me see. Yep. Now your Jupiter is in your see. Look at your second house, Jupiter retrograde, and that's the home. Go to the fourth house, which is the family, and you got no, I take that back. But you got Uranus retrograde. Now that 24 degrees, that 24 degrees means the return. But see, it's Scorpio. See, anytime you got Scorpio in the fourth house, you're dealing with soulmates, and these people have been in your life before. And see, in your eighth house, you got Pisces, which is going to take you to all about the secrets and all that stuff. And that's really the ruler of your 12th house. So this is all this stuff is karmic and people you've dealt with before, and it's going to be like death and rebirth situations and things like that. And Uranus retrograde is something that comes out of nowhere. Now, Uranus and Scorpio could be dealing with technology, higher sciences, higher knowledge. Again, things coming out of nowhere. So it might be a kind of like a dramatic within your family or within your relationships. But again, your second house, which deals with money and possessions, because with Virgo in the second house, Virgo is all about the home, but it's also about health, healing, small children, small animals, co-workers, subordinates, service. So your belief system is there, but that like I said, that's even a person. See, it goes back to the home. Like I want a nice home. I need to have a nice home. I want my family to be with me in a nice home. But what happens about Jupiter retrograde? Your belief system changes, and that could be after somebody lets you down or whatever it might be. But either way, your Jupiter again is at that Uranus energy. Because to me, it's that Uranus energy that's going to shake you up. That 0 degree is Uranus energy, but it could cause a shake up. And to go back, like I said, to go back to your true north node. See, whenever you see 27, that's that person. That's that person. Cause no, see how it's twice. Like whenever you see double numbers a natal chart like 27, 27, that's usually twin flames. Now, and the horseshoe that true north node is why you're here, your purpose for this life. And sometimes, if you want, you can go to the angel number 2727, or you can go to Bill Hydrick 27, or you can go to the Matrix 2727 get information. And that's almost like saying 99, like numerology. And it can be Virgo energy because Virgo energy is the Hermit card is 9, and that's Virgo energy. So now you can see your second house is very karmic because you got 21 there, which is karmic, the world card 21. And then it's karmic because you got 15 there, which is the devil card. And that has to do like bondage to materialism, bondage to the physical world. But it's still karmic. Third house, Leo, and the third house is ruled by Gemini. All about short time, small children, short travel, short distances, the brotherhood, siblings, the environment around you, publishing. But we already, other than that, we already explained your third house as well as your fourth house. Fifth house is going to be the psychic, the clairvoyance, and all that clear stuff. Soulmate. Uh, Capricorn in the sixth house. Again, this could be somebody that has a home business, or it could just be somebody that's like just a little too serious about the home. So that's something to work on because again, you want your home life to be warm and fun. Seven with Aquarius, like I said, that's almost like anything goes type of relationship. But that's why anywhere where you see zero on your chart, that's dealing with this Uranus and Aquarius. And again, you're very psychic. See, he's a very psychic because now you got Pisces in the eighth house. That's very psychic between the eighth house and the 12th house. And you really got to pull out your paperwork. You're going to receive that in your email today. Pull out your paperwork and really get to know your eighth house. Ninth house with Aries, there is some type of aggression towards whatever it is: publishing, master, teacher, traveling, higher knowledge, in laws. So, Palace represents either your soulmate or your twin flame. Three is the third house of Virgo. No, well, Libra. Third house of Virgo. Third house Libra. That's what's in the third house, Libra. And also can also represent communication. But three is also the Empress card, which is Venus energy. But three can also represent Gemini energy. Gemini energy. Which could be children or siblings or whatever I said about the third house. Because as you know, the third house is usually opposite the ninth house. And your sun is 26 degrees. So I'm gonna try to see would they have the sun at 26 degrees, and we're gonna do Aries at 26 degrees. And it's funny because even the sun at 26 degrees, that would kind of be like Jesus. So it's kind of funny, and that is your higher knowledge house and all that, because Sagittarius always wants to get down to the truth. All right, so like I said, 26 degrees. All right, 26 degrees Aries. A man possessed of more gifts than he can hold. Well, remember that could be like blessings, because Sagittarius rules the ninth house, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter will bless you, like I said, with more than you can hold, because it's going to expand. Then it says 26 degrees Aries again, through imagination, a lost opportunity is gained. But once again, it's death and rebirth. Death and rebirth. So it's almost like the two start talking. See, you got the soulmate asteroid, which is Pallas, and then you got Mercury, which they're talking, they're communicating, and therefore it's looking better. It's more shiny and stuff like that. He may have learned to use his aggression, that Aries aggression, to be, more communicative, as opposed to just being mad and holding it in and then planning revenge. Medium Coeli, which is, like I said, part of the true north node, is 0 degrees. Again, Uranus energy again. But 9, like I said, represents that Virgo energy. So when you look at his medium Coeli is still connected to his second house through Virgo, but it's also connected to his north node. So you go into the 10th house, which is career. When you have Taurus in the 10th house, basically it is financial, and we already know that he perceives see, because that's like the mother. The moon is the mother, but again, he's seeing security, because Taurus can be very earthy and very, very worried about the money, the finances, which you gotta worry about stuff like that. So his 10th house is pretty stable, and he's healing with Chiron is healing. Um, the nurture is there as well. So the message is like to make sure you have your career and your income, your career and your finances stable, because that'll help you stabilize with this person. And remember, the 10th house is still karmic, because possibly in a past life it wasn't stable financially, and that was one of the reasons why they were arguing or doing whatever they were doing to each other. And it's karmic because it takes you right back to the 12th house, and then it's 29 degrees. See, 29 degrees is that's karmic. I mean, well, it's 29. It's not 29 degrees, but it's 29 minutes. So 12 degrees, 29 minutes. So it's not an anaretic degree. It's not karmic in that sense, but it is still referencing it. It's almost like if you see an off-duty police officer. If he's got his revolver, and if he wants to, he can still make an arrest, even if he calls a citizen or whatever he's going to do with it. So that 29 is still something to be aware of, but it's not going to be like the boom that it should be. And it's almost like you have a celebration in your 10th house, because they're basically saying that you have a job and it'll go better with you with this person you have a karmic relationship with. Because remember, the house of fears, that's what's going to happen. You ain't got no job. How are we going to pay these bills? And people they just overreact and go crazy. And it's something that can lead to disloyalty. Now, Curious is the motherly nurturer at 14 degrees. That's Sagittarius energy again, which is kind of showing that you're going to have like psychic help. you're gonna have Sagittarius helping you with finances in the 10th house, and also Jupiter, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And then you got the moon, which is, like I said, mother energy. And that, like I said, that moon is working with your Cancer and your 12th house, everything I said. And remember, it's 18 degrees, which is the moon card. And that's also a twin flame card, because if you go to the moon card, you see the two there, the two animals, but that's twin flames as well. And the high priestess is number 2, so that's the high priestess is there, and probably working through the mother as well, the earthly mother. And then it's 44, which is healing. So you see healing in the 10th house. Then when you get to the 11th house, you have Gemini. But see, this is good. This is good communication, because Gemini is all about publishing and communicating. It's also about children as well. But you see, his Vesta is 4 degrees, so that's Aries energy. So he has to be careful in his 11th house, because he can burn himself out. But this is him, getting along with people, politicking with people, and things like that. And again, he may find himself in a serious relationship with either a Gemini or somebody in his 3rd house, because Gemini rules the 3rd house. And when you go to his 3rd house, look what you got there, but Libra. And at 12 degrees again, that would take you back to the 12th house. And if you notice, there you go again, number 9, which is Virgo. So this, like I said, so this person can be Gemini, Virgo, and both Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury, which you see them getting along together in the 9th house. See, the 9th house is like when you see something in the 3rd house, that's like the first attempt, and it usually dies. Just like you see right here, death and rebirth. But when it gets to the Sagittarius energy or the 9th house, it's a retry, but it works. And maybe Aries is there because he's more determined to make it work, or maybe it's her. But they both seem to be there talking, and they really want to work it out the second time around. And even with Sagittarius in the 5th house, because maybe the person's not as serious, they've learned to don't take stuff so seriously, laugh it off instead of getting all mad and crazy. And like I said, Vesta under these circumstances is definitely about That's why I try to tell. That's why I try to tell people. A lot of people see Vesta as repression because she was raped, and a lot of people see her as a saintly way. A home asteroid, and that could be true. A lot of people say Vesta means your integrity, devotion. That could be true, but in some cases, Vesta could be a straight up freak, and that's kind of what I'm getting in the 11th house, because it's like the second time around they're more eager. They're more eager to make it work. And that's why some people need that argument and need that breakup or whatever it took, because then they recommit to each other, and that's what that looks like in the 11th house. So that is this entire natal chart all the way around. Keep in mind, I got sales going on. Make sure you have the most recent services offered and price list. Remember, we do way more than just natal charts. Very accurate. It helps people avoid confusion and making better choices. So I just want to look at this real quick and see if there's anything else I wanted to look at. So I think that's pretty much it. All right, I'm out.